In today's MMA news video, Bisping and Smith explain why Strickland should rematch Adesanya right away. Garry believes Adesanya wins the rematch easily because he had an off night, but Robert Whittaker strongly disagrees. On the Believe You Me podcast, Bisping and Smith break down why Sean Strickland should rematch Israel Adesanya next as his first middleweight championship defense.
He's lost 2 out of his last 3 now, and I would love to see the division kind of move on. But when you think about it, for Sean Strickland, the very, very best thing might be the immediate rematch with Israel Adesanya, because all those other fights I just mentioned are tough fights, right? Sean's in this for the money. He talks about that all the time, which is also very refreshing as well. You know what I mean? Here was the martial artist to test myself. No, that. We all want to get paid. Izzy's the biggest star. There'll be a big storyline, a big narrative going into that one. From what I saw there, unless Izzy does something to completely reinvent the wheel, can't see a much different result. You know what I mean? Now, you never know because every fight is different. I always say that. But for Sean, he has the opportunity to say, okay, yeah, I'll do you again. Get paid a shit ton of money because he'll be on pay-per-view points, become a millionaire overnight, and then finally, once and for all, close the book on Israel Adesanya and then move on to the rest of the division.
Because he went in there and did that to him unsure if he could win. He said if he in the post-fight press conference is like, I thought I'd be leaving here with a concussion. It was shocked at how easy it was. You know, now with the confidence that he can win and he can win over a long period of time and he's kind of been in the fire, I think that's only going to make him better. I'm not sure if Israel Adesanya can beat Sean Strickland, not with those two styles versus each other. Of course, Izzy could catch him and hurt him and put him, of course. I'm not saying there's no chance he can win. I'm just saying chances are it goes very similar the second time. And if he loses, now you're in a rubber match situation, so he can try again. So you may get 3 paychecks out of Israel Adesanya.
Sean could earn millions of dollars out of that. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
The reason he got into this sport was to do that, and he still can't believe where he is now, the monies that he's earning. He's going to get pay-per-view points. Now, don't get me wrong, Drickus would be great. And who else? The Jared Cannonier. They ain't going to come or bring that same kind of monetary value.
No.
And Sean knows he can beat him.
If he doesn't fight Israel Adesanya right away, he may never get the chance again.
You never know. Listen, I don't want to say it was a bad night for Izzy because it takes away from Strickland, but he didn't look good, right? He didn't. He didn't.
And maybe that was Strickland.
For sure, a lot of it was to do with Strickland. But the question I'm asking is, are we starting to see the decline? Is that the end of the Izzy era? Right? Could he bring it back? If he beats Sean, as you say, then there'll be a trilogy. More than likely, that would be the fair thing to do. And then once you lose the belt and once you start losing and you got a history of losing and you've lost 2 out of your last 3 now and then 3 out of 4, all those other guys are really good. Do you know what I mean? And by the way, Izzy was so impressive the way that he rebounded against Pereira, and I had so much respect for him. Do you know what I mean? So you got to remember that that's what he was capable of. He got finished in round 5, came back, finished in round 2. And so we got to give Izzy the props. But Saturday night was all Sean Strickland. So Izzy versus Sean Strickland again then. That's what we're saying.
I think so.
I'm telling you right now, from a managerial aspect, that's the best thing for Sean. He's got the momentum. He's already beaten him. He knows he can do it. He's going to be more confident. He shuts the door on Izzy altogether. He gets a gigantic payday. He'll make several $1 million. He'll be the bona fide, undisputed. He's defended the belt. Then he can move on to the rest of the division.
He's already fought Jared Cannonier. He believes he won the Cannonier fight, and to be honest with you, I do too.
Yeah, it was real close.
Duplessis, he's not as big of a draw as Adesanya. He's a bigger problem in terms of his diversity of his attacks, or could fight the guy I'm gonna make a shit ton of money to already beat.
Well, it's just smart business sense. The UFC won it, so you say, all right, okay, I'll do it. I'll roll with the punches. I'll give you what you want. I'll fight the guy again. I'll prove the world not wrong because he's got a lot of support, but I'll prove that I'm the better man. I'll make all that money. I'll shut everyone up. I'll show the rest of the division. Those are the contenders that couldn't beat him. I'll show you all it wasn't a fluke, and I'll beat him twice in a row. What a message that would be to all the other contenders as well. There's some fun matchups down the line, but I'd like to see the door be closed. Not for Izzy, for Sean's sake. Because I think that's the best thing for him.
And with Dana White also saying we should run it back.
I think you do the rematch, absolutely. I mean, the rematch is interesting.
Garry says there's no chance Strickland beats Adesanya a second time. I feel like Izzy lost the fight more than Sean Strickland won the fight. I feel like there was a certain point in that fight where Izzy was afraid to lose more than he wanted to win. His efficiency, his output, his shot selection wasn't as elite as it normally is, and it gave Sean Strickland the opportunity for his awkwardness to have success, his constant pressure to have success. I feel like if you run that back, there's no way Sean Strickland gets his hand raised again. That's my opinion, but at the end of the day, Sean Strickland got his hand raised, and I can never shoot a man for reaching his dream. The truth is, when you watch that fight back, What did Sean do that was elite? He threw a jab and threw effing all kicks, so there was no wrestling involved, there was no kicks involved, there was a couple of punches every now and again, and just constant pressure. I feel like if Izzy had the output that he usually does, or the efficiency that he usually does, he would have won. Obviously his awkwardness played into the fight, but I just feel like Izzy wasn't picking the shots he normally would. I think if they ran that back, Izzy dominates. But former middleweight champion Robert Whittaker strongly disagrees. Strickland had an answer for every one of Izzy's techniques. For every one of Izzy's strengths, Strickland had an answer. He was cutting off the cage perfectly. He was in the threat space where Izzy's leg kicks were taken out of concern. Strickland, his defensive game was on point. With Izzy throwing looping shots as he kind of rope-a-dopes on the fence there, Strickland was patient, just always keeping Izzy on the back foot, which was taking out of his gas. And mate, he just kept it consistent from the very first second of the fight to the 25th. It was honestly a great performance from Strickland. I see a lot of things popping up saying that Izzy looked off. I don't think he had an off night. He looked off because Sean shut him down. Izzy wasn't given any space in the open floor to do any of his tricky kicks. He wasn't given any space to work any of his flinch games with his punches. He wasn't given any chance. Sean was in his face from the first bell ring.
Guys, I already broke my belt, but I have a solution. Good as new.
Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe and see you in the next one.
So I'ma let my chest poke out just a little. I'm headed to the top, can't stop in the middle. We are on the rise, so keep watching the sky.